Kichwa, Kichwa, Kichwa. Thank you for coming to Let's Set the Record Straight. Conversations with America. This month, where our topic is identity politics, the new black. You know, because we got this Kamala Harris running around saying that she's black, and I'm confused. So what are we now? We're also going to talk about raising our vibration and living indigenously, because it's real clear to me that in the United States political arena, the Amerindian people, the Negro people, or the people who used to be identified as black has become completely invisible. So where do we fit in? And is Kamala Harris the new identity for what black is? And I've been watching what's been going on and what have you. And even her father was very upset because he was like, when did we get into identity politics? So that was something we want to talk about. We also want to talk about what's in the news. How about the flooding, y'all, and that hurricane that decided to back up and come back and hit Florida 3 times? Also, in this month, we have Biden and Trump. And I didn't put Biden versus Trump because there's some interesting dynamics going on here. And I've been sitting back just watching it because we do not become complicit. I don't support anything that is artificial. So I'm just sitting back watching what's going on here. You know, what are we witnessing? You know, democracy versus democracy, because the word democracy has a double-edged meaning. So what's going to happen with all these Trump voters? Because a lot of people voted for Trump. You know, and all of a sudden we had an election that took a week. And I've been listening to elections all my life. I've never known that it's taken a week to do an election. So is this the first election that really counted votes? Just something to ponder about. And so we're going to talk about that today. And without further ado, how many of you have noticed that Kamala Harris is now considered African American? And she really has no form of connection to any kind of the continent or us, other than through her father, who is Caribbean, which would give her, she has an Amerindian father. She's of mixed uh, 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 parentage. But I also noticed that when she won, they went to her mother's village in India. Did anybody else pick up on that? Like to make a comment? And you can put yourself on camera too. How about you, LD Jean? What do you think about what you see happening?
Well, it was interesting when I seen that she said in her speech when it was pronounced that they had won, that she was telling some of the public, you see what a black woman can do? Never give up, because she felt like that her achievement, everybody else that is of color can achieve the same thing. That was very interesting. But um, her background, I understand, she's from India, from India, and the father's another, I think, Jamaican. So that's very interesting as to how they sum that up as she being a black woman.
Yes, I thought that was really interesting too, because if they wanted to have a real Negro Amerindian female, you had Stacey Abrams, you've had the mayor of Atlanta, and I believe there was some others that was in contention that would have been the ideal of meeting that criteria. But this Kamala Harris is really an immigrant. Her mother,
Yeah, her father is mixed also.
yeah,
Her father is not a Negro, like what is a Negroes from Jamaican Negro. He's actually in a mixed Jamaican
yeah, because
over in his land.
I agree with you. I saw him for the first time the other day. He was on Fox News. I found that very interesting, and he does not look like your typical indigenous Caribbean. He looks quite different, and so I just found it interesting. Is this the new identity for the new black? But if she is what you call black, well, then what does that make us? What does that make everybody else who's not black? And I found it very interesting, as they were saying, oh, uh, 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 this is what our daughters should strive to be. And so I took a look at her and I said, wow, she has no children. She has no children. I think she recently just got married. And her, Stacey Abrams, none of them are really pro-life. Has anybody else picked up on that? The career that they have is political. And Kamala Harris, if you look at her background, she's never been pro uh 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 Amerindian people. If anything, she has been very, very harsh, and a lot of people have gotten the death penalty, and she's enforced it. Has anybody else picked up on that? I personally look at her as a bulldog in heels.
Well, I was told when she, I guess, was running for, I don't know what office she held prior to this one, but that under her reign, she have had more black males and females locked up in prison than
Yes,
any other. I've
yes,
heard that.
yeah,
She was the district attorney over in California.
right, right,
So
right.
she was actually locking up a lot of people, a lot of blacks, and they doing a lot of time behind her. So
Yeah,
that's
I
what she
heard she's
helped.
very, 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 very hard. And a lot of people got the death penalty. I don't think they have the death penalty there, but got life in prison.
Yeah, they got capital punishment in California.
Well, that's what they got. And she was really keeping those coffers full of people. and particularly Amerindian people. And she was more than a district attorney. She had ran and became the head person. And I just can't think of it right now, the name. But it was very, very clear that she was not pro her people. She was not pro any people of color. Would y'all agree on that? And I don't remember her when she was running or anything. Had she ever been called a Black American? So are we saying the new Black is now ethnic immigrants? The new Black is now the people from India?
I think on that topic, if you notice the term, they don't really use Black, but they use the term color. So that leaves a gap when you talk about color and then you talk about Black, you're being specific. So I think that the thing is that everybody counts regardless of where they're from because we're under the same umbrella called America.
Okay, say that again. With dealing with identity politics, that everybody counts?
Right. Because it's a
umbrella of the United States. It's not under the umbrella of America.
Right. What I mean is that the United States, because they're claiming America is theirs. And anybody who, regardless of what color, they're considered an American.
Is that what they're saying? So if that's the case, why do you need to have identity politics? Why would it be necessary for her, who is not a person that is part of America, all of a sudden identify herself as an African American? Because if that's the case, whites are also African Americans. Anybody got a comment on that? Because when you're playing identity politics, you're dealing with ethnicism, and what you're doing is putting artificial identifiers. Because if she's an African American, what makes her different than Stacey Abrams? Or Keisha Bottoms. That's who I was looking for his name for. Keisha Bottoms.
Well, from what I heard, the votes anyway. It's not even official. I think they make it official in December 14th. I think that's when they actually, because they did the same thing with Bush during the 2000 elections. I think it was Al Gore. They announced him as the president, and then December they announced Bush as the official president. For some reason, I think they count the votes.
No,
officially.
Right. What happened was
the electoral votes. I think that's what really counts.
That is correct.
It's not so what the media is telling us. That's the media, and they don't even have that power to actually tell people that who's who in the office yet. So they got the they got the whole country all hyped up.
We're not necessarily talking about who's in the office. We're just talking about the identities and what these identities are doing and what's the consequence of that.
Well, it's a political thing. A lot of them do that. When they get over here, they do that to get into college. They announce that they're American, Negro or whatever, to get into colleges, especially a lot of the HBCUs. I know a lot of immigrants that do that. They don't say that they're Indian or.
Most of them are full of nothing but immigrants. I mean, most of the HBCUs, that's where they make their money off of recruiting immigrants. They're not making their money off of bringing in people from that established them. That's nothing new about that. In the future, the HBCUs are not even going to be representing no kind of people of color, no people of America. They're not going to be there because you're not getting into the HBCUs. However, I was just wondering, was there any comment on if she is now considered black, so-called black, not colored, because she went out the other day and said, "Oh, I am an African American." I was like, "Whoa." And her father made a comment that he did not. He was taken back over the fact that she would now call herself another identity term that applies to a different group of people. That she's calling herself the first black woman to be vice president. And I'm saying to myself, no, you're not. Just like Barack Obama was not the first black man to become president. He was not Negro. He ain't got to drop a Negro in him. He was the first minority to become president, and she's the first minority to become a minority vice president, as well as a female. But at no point are they black. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if they're black, what door opening is there for our future children, for those people who choose to indulge in this matrix? Where do they fit in? And I want to give people a minute just to think about that. Just to think about where would our people fit into this matrix at all. Elder Eugene, I'm gonna ask you what's coming to your mind.
Well, it kind of, just listening to the question, it kind of went, I pondered, because it's going to as this unfolds, it's going to be very interesting that how the classifications would be as it relates to us, because I think if we don't stand up for what we are, then they're going to continue to push forward with the fact of calling you African American. So it has to be corrected right out front. Not only just saying it, but I have to think it has to be put into action through all their things that they have put down, like the birth certificates, the driver license that have that on there has to be changed and rectified to make a difference. Because until we make a difference, they are not really responsible for making a difference. Hello? I think something might have happened to the record.
Oh no, I can still hear you. I can't hear Redine if she's talking.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think maybe something went wrong on her end.
Yeah, but I don't see African American on birth certificates or driver's license. I don't see that on there. I don't know, that I know that's a new term that started back in the late 80s, late 1980s, but I don't see it actually on birth certificates. I see it on like maybe applications or stuff like that. But no, I don't see it on the birth certificate or the driver's license. African American. I don't see that.
Well, here I went to have mine changed and put the correct, but the people at the DNV told me that they can't do that. He said whatever is on your birth certificate, that's what they would recognize is who you are. And I said, so she said, they're really, unless you just completely change everything, then you will be still classified as Black or African American. And
Right.
that's
Yeah,
what they're.
but on my birth certificate, I got Negro.
Right. If you have Negro,
I was born in the '60s,
Okay,
and
then,
I
yeah.
got Negro on mine. My brothers, all my sisters, everybody got Negro. My mother, prior to that, they had colored on theirs. You know, my mother, my parents, my grandparents, and stuff like they got colored on their birth certificates. But on mine and my siblings and all my family, like that was born in that period, the '60s and all that, we got Negroes on ours. So
right. And
and
that
all and also my children was born in the '80s. My son and daughter, they got Negro on theirs. They don't have African American.
well, if you're born today, a lot of the birth certificates don't have anything. And that's not good because that means you can be put anywhere. Somebody else can identify you. And so that's not good. So it's very good to be clear on where your ethnicity is because it has to do with where your human rights are. And we keep coming from, and it's, it seems like people all over the planet seem to understand basic fundamentals, but our people don't. And many of our people operate as if they have a human right wherever they are. And other than breathing air, that's the only human right you actually have anywhere you are. And many, many wars are caused because people have rights, have a human right to exist on the soil that's connected to their blood heritage, because that's where life put them to be fruitful and multiply. And conquest is about getting people to walk away from that simple right. But it does not give you the right to go someplace else and kill the people that were already there. So that's where a lot of your human rights law starts from. And the indigenous law or the declaration is the recognizing of the people who were the first, who actually have the human right to be where they are and not to participate in a artificial society that has implanted themselves on their soil. So with this understanding, and for the United States was keeping keeping abreast of how well the Amerindian females were keeping her race alive on her soil. So they identified who you were. And at one time we have fought because we didn't want these identities that were placed upon us by Europeans in their society. We wanted to be recognized in our truth. But the laws work, whereas if you are in anybody who participates or is claimed by the artificial system, then you usurp your indigenous right. And so for a long time there, even United States, what made United States the greatest country in the beginning wasn't because they had all this great technology. Actually, it had to do with population size. And they were a minority. They were a small population. What increased the United States was the inclusion of the Negro population, which was literally 250 million people in the earth as late as the early 1900s, according to the federal book on Indian law. It was estimated that there was 290 million indigenous people still living in the United States, in the territories claimed by the United States. So with that inclusion plus made United States a very, very large country. Even though we did not necessarily feel, and then we became Americans, but we never became the Americans. We were the Americans of America, but we were not the Americans of the United States. So now when you hear them talking about, or if you notice every time you turn around, America this, America that, America this, they're claiming our human right. Because if they're America, then that gives them a right to get rid of you. If Kamala Harris is now the African American and she's an immigrant, then that means that you are now. What are you? And so I'm watching these different things and I'm seeing how they are encompassing and getting us to be complicit in our own, for our future generations, right not to live in that which is their right by nature. It is your nature right if you are born of a female whose blood is that of America. So identity politics actually is another sword in our genocide and the genocide of the female. Because she's standing up there, oh no, I'm same as Stacey Abrams. No, you're not. You are not. You do not represent the Amerindian female struggle no more than Barack Obama represents the Amerindian male. And so as we adopt their terminologies, we have become complicit and is taking the sword of complicity and sticking it in our own hearts. And that's something we should think about. You and I are America, and America is dying. United States is starting to feel it too. But at no point is Kamala Harris anything but an immigrant. Now, maybe African American will apply to immigrants. Well, but the truth is that Negro descendants are not immigrants. We didn't come here through 1619 or 1620 or whatever. Now they trying to put that the whole race came through to Jamestown. And that's what Juneteenth is about. And they're really pushing this on brothers as well, on sisters hard. So you can tell your children and mislead your children into a lie. Then at that point, you become complicit. And you can't blame them for your demise. You can't blame them for your children's demise. Because you sat there and fed that to them, which you knew was a lie. But you would consider yourself confused. But is it their job to keep you unconfused, or is it our job to always stand in our responsibility of our truth? Any comments? I'd like to hear a comment on that. I had cut the camera off by accident. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me put this back on. I think I got it. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I had a comment. When it comes down to those types of issues and knowing how to properly represent yourself, I think it's a problem for some of our people not knowing exactly what to do in terms of who they are. The same thing with when our females go into their hospital to deliver their babies. I'm told that they cannot. They can leave the hospital, but the baby cannot until the baby is given a birth certificate, which means it can give it an identity. Now, we can no longer blame them for what's going on. We have to blame ourselves for what is being accepted. So I think we need to deal with a proper representation as to what we need to do when we're faced with these different challenges.
I agree, and that's why I wanted to do the show. I agree 100% that we need to make sure that at least somebody has spoken up in reference to this, that the fact that this new identity politics is just another form of genocide being perpetrated against us collectively, and that we as a people need to make sure that we tell our future generations, because all of these people who are running into politics, all these sisters, I'm just going to say, are not necessarily promoting life or the continuation or the future of life. I find that Kamala Harris and all of them, they're promoting careers. Okay. And it seems like, and I hope I'm wrong, I really do. It seems like if you have a career that's in the system, our women's career is about finding some workable equality in the present that doesn't promote the future. Because having a career, having nothing. Let me phrase this a better. There's nothing wrong with having a career as long as you understand you're still responsible for your life purpose as being helping or supporting the continuation of the future. And if you put your career first and the continuation of the future last, or not at all, then are you actually sending a message that you don't want to be a part of the future? That there is no future. And I find Oprah Winfrey, all of these women who seem to be doing big in the artificial arena seem not to have do not support the continuation of life service. We have a service, everyone does. So, how can we claim ourselves as female? Well, they don't say they're female, they say they're women. And there's a difference between a female and a woman. But as women, as women, we put Biden in there. And I'm like, well, exactly what do you expect from Biden to do? Or just give y'all more jobs in the political arena? I mean, what somebody else give me what their perceptions of what they see going on here, because what I see is not too good. What do you think about it, Waters?
Well, I think a lot of people was actually voting for Biden because they wanted Trump out. Biden asked Kamala to join him as his, and that's how she got in, because when she was running on her own, she didn't get a lot of support, and she was one of the first ones that that dropped out of the race.
I
So
agree.
she got put on because of him, and they putting her in the forefront as if she was the main one. That's why they keep pushing her name out there, and she's taking all this glory and all of that as if she was the reason why she got voted in, and it really was Biden. Even though Biden didn't do nothing, it's just people just want Trump out. You know what I mean? For some reason, I don't know why. Even though Biden really did more damage than Trump. You know what I mean? Back in when he was with Obama, and even before that, when he the mid '90s, I think, when he passed the bill, I forget, the crime bill or something like that. To lock a lot of people up and all that shit.
They both right.
But I think that's how she got in, and it wasn't really for her, her herself. It's just that she, Biden was there, he put her on, and then all of a sudden
Yeah, but why did he put her on? What benefit did she bring to the table that they would put her on? Because they could have put Elizabeth Warren. They could have put all kinds of other. There was a whole slew of people, and I agree with you. She came out first, and she peated first. And when I say peated, I mean she went, and nobody was wanted to really vote for her. And why would you put her on the ticket? So there was everything that is done for a reason. Now I think he put her on the ticket because she will do what she is told. She doesn't have necessarily a progressive agenda. But how many of you would have thought that he would have went with Elizabeth Warren or somebody else? There was quite a few females. I can't think of all their names because they're a little difficult right now.
Well, the thing about that is that the black vote was more important. So they needed somebody with some color in their skin. You know what I mean? So that's why he grabbed her, because he was trying to get the black vote. The black vote is big, as far as, especially when it comes to that. Yeah, the black vote, that's what they really wanted. So they try to get somebody with color, in their skin.
Even then,
even though she don't really mean nothing to us. But that's why they did it, and that's why everybody jumped on her. If that was
the case, why didn't they get Stacey Adams?
She's too Negro looking. She's not mixed. Just like Obama was a mixed race. You know what I mean? So they put him in there, but they don't want nobody like full Negro.
That's what I'm trying to get y'all to see. They don't want nobody who's actually indigenous, who actually is the people. They don't want them. They don't want them. It was bad enough that what's her name? What's Obama's wife? Michelle Obama made it as a president's wife because she's a full Negro. But you've noticed that they didn't talk about her ethnic identity any.
Well, that's why Obama got elected, because of Michelle, and Oprah also, you know what I'm saying? She actually talked Obama, a lot of people into voting for Obama, but it was because of Michelle Obama. She was full Negro.
No, they call Michelle Obama a nigga in heels. Now, no. They didn't vote for Obama because of Michelle. If anything, he kept her really, really low key and kept her in the back. But no, not Michelle. She can't run for president, even though people would tell her and Oprah to run for president. Those white folks are not going to vote for them.
No, I'm not talking about voting for her. I'm saying because of her, a lot of people voted for Obama. When they saw her and they saw her little children and all that, they voted for him. Other than that, nobody ever even heard of Obama. I never even heard of him until he started running in 2008. I never even heard of him.
Well, no, you heard of him when he did the Democratic convention. He did the Democratic convention and he was keynote speaker and stuff, and he blew it out the water, and his charisma came out, and they didn't bring out Michelle. She wasn't brought out. And when they found out that she was an attorney And she had to change her stature so that she could come off as very, very non-threatening. And she did, but Barack Obama, in the beginning, you didn't know who he was with. They wouldn't let you see him. And it's interesting because they're all playing whoever is in the background. They're playing to a different drummer, and they're selling that drummer to us. They're selling it. Everything has an agenda. And so the original agenda of the Constitution is still in full effect, because everything they are doing has a negative consequence to us and our future. And the more you can keep a people invisible, doesn't that make it easier to railroad them out?
Absolutely. Thank you.
But you say thank you? Okay. Any comment?
Yes, it makes it much easier because if you notice, like you just discussed about Obama, and I don't know why our people are so naive when it comes down to this political market. It's not really for them, but they still like this person is going to make a change for us, and every black face that has got in politics have never been able to make a change. But for some reason, they feel like this one is going to make a change.
Well, it was interesting you would bring that up, because they were having on black media, they were having a discussion on, now that the black vote has brought Biden in, what does Biden owe the black community? Because it was their votes. And it's interesting to me, we say it was our vote because we're only supposed to be 40 million of the collective voting apparatus of the United States. So how would it be just our votes that would make all the difference? And it's interesting to me because every state which is considered to be a part of the Black Belt, which is South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi, they traditionally go to whoever is running. When Barack Obama was running, they didn't go. He didn't get the black belt. He didn't get those electoral votes. Now he did get Pennsylvania, but Pennsylvania's electoral votes are mainly they're Jewish, and he always gets, they always get the strong Democrat of the North. But I just found it real interesting on how we were the ones dubbed that got Barack Biden in, when we're not enough of us to get Biden in by himself. So again, I'm just giving food for thought, just to think of, there's this is not the reality of 40 million people, and you have a country that's close to 150. I'm gonna give it because you had 75, 150 million people. 40 million people can add to some other numbers, but 40 million by itself would not make that much of a difference. And I don't think that all the people voted, because there's a lot of people. Think about it. All the people I know, they wouldn't, who were indigenous, they wouldn't say they were for Trump, but they weren't for Biden. And if they did vote, I'm quite sure in the privacy of the booth, they went for Trump. So when you say, did we get out the vote? Yes, I do think that Many of our people knocked on doors and what have you. Um, did a lot of our people vote because they didn't like what they saw with Black Lives Matter and what was happening? But do we really feel that Biden is going to stop the shooting of Amerindian males? Come on, I'm trying to get this controversial. I want y'all to talk. Talk to me now. Talk to me.
If you've noticed, in every election, there's always some stigma as to, prior to all of this, you notice there was a killing of Black males in the street. And during the debate, they asked the question to both of what do they plan on doing? Biden said that they're going to revamp and reconsider what's been going on in the killing of our males. And so we was under the impression that he was going to do something about it, but Trump, he avoided the question altogether. But with Biden, he dealt with it and he admitted that it was unjust, and that if he was going to be elected president.
Want me to bring it to you?
Hello? Go ahead. I'm sorry, sir.
Oh.
Keep going.
Okay.
That he was going to address that issue.
Yeah, it's ready.
Man, that lady.
Can you put yourself on mute, man? We hear you. Okay, continue.
That he was going to address this issue of what was happening to us. But we fail to realize that a lot of that, they're not going to correct that. It's something that we have to deal with altogether for ourselves, because this has been going on, and what we don't understand about the whole police department, it's the trackers. They're called I call them the rounding up of the slaves. That's all they do is they need slaves on the plantation. The plantations is the new jail system. So how would they change that? Because crime is very, very big business, and they need people to manufacture with low cost, which would be the prison system, with the black people making the product for these different companies.
Oh, you're 100% right on that. I mean, the plantation system, going to jail has been the plantation system for centuries. That's nothing new. It's that's how they capture you, and they capture you in your ghettos. But at this point in time in our lives, don't we see some changes that we can make? Because I'm very, very clear as a person who lives indigenously. I live it. And I can't see why anybody in our who lives indigenously would want to live the way we're living today. It's just too much stress. Why do we have to live under oppression? And why do we is our oppression a result of our complicity in always, buying into some kind of artificial living system that we think is better than living within the boundaries of nature itself? Isn't living within the boundaries of nature a higher vibration? Do we really enjoy living in such low vibration, or we just enjoy having the choice? Because you come up to a lot of our people and you bring up anything about building life, supporting, creating a paradigm, or changing the way you think into a paradigm that is productive. You got people who will spit on your food, and I just can't understand why. If you're not happy and you see that people are giving you the pill of death, why would you want that pill instead of moving towards a pill of life? Are we that stuck on being, I don't want to take responsibility, I don't want to do nothing? Or do we feel that this artificial lifestyle that we're living in owes us something? I mean, somebody give me some insight on what you feel you see doing what's happening.
I have a comment.
Please.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think, it's like people in an abusive relationship, people are used to that abuse. And it's hard to get someone out of an abusive relationship because that's what they have become accustomed to, even though the person is beating them up daily. So I think it becomes a mental health issue.
I like that. She brought up mental health issue. Okay. So we've been collectively beating down each other for so long. It's now a mental health issue that we have. That anything beyond that, that we have fear of. Is that pretty much what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? I like that. Anybody else? Come on. Think about it. Why are we still not willing to change a paradigm?
Well, let's face the truth here. When I say they, I'm talking about this system had made it very sweet for us. Let's face it, you can go to work from 9 to 5, control. You can go down and get a big loan for a beautiful house that you can work for and what you'll never own. And they have made the table sweet for us. So it would be hard because we don't know anything else really outside of that. If very people who live like yourself that know the sweetness of living indigenously, because all our life growed up. I'm 68 years old, and I've never heard the term indigenously until I start, studying, how to live this way. I've never heard the term. No one ever talked about it. We just more or less talked about survival. So if you don't have anything to compare it to, you accept the norm, which is the way most of us live today. Because let's face it, we don't know how to, get our own food unless we go to the supermarket. We're not gonna go in the forest and get nothing to eat. So we're used to this. And so until there's a fight to change it, we will continue to be this way. To learn about plants, to learn about how actually nature works, very few people want to do that. It's too complicated. So, people rarely live like the way we've been living. And at the same time, we're perishing for the lack of that.
But are we perishing because of the fact that deep inside we don't like our lives? I mean, how often do you meet a happy person?
Very seldom.
Okay, I mean, let's be honest. Most of our people are working, but they're not working. Their works don't afford them much of anything. Okay, if they, very few people are living the Negro dream. Very few. You can't count 1,000 millionaires that are us. And they make a millionaire, 10 millionaires are made every day. So, the majority of our people are not experiencing this paradigm in such a wonderful way. Most of our people, a large percentage of our people are the homeless. A large percentage of our people are going to the food banks every day. Most of our people are not making a living wage unless they're self-employed. And even under self-employed, it's a struggle. You make it your own struggle, but if you're working, and let's be honest, most of our people all got degrees. Everybody and their mammy got a degree, and they just as poor. And I didn't say poor. I said poor. It's a different kind of poor because not only are they poor financially, They're poor emotionally. They work, so they don't have time to develop absolutely nothing. So all they do is eat, sleep, watch a little TV, and go back to work. It's not like being a robot or a machine. I'm asking, do you really have time to do anything else but focus on work?
I was listening. I was listening to Umar Johnson. Someone gave me this. And he said last year, black persons spent. He didn't say made. He said they spent over $2 trillion
Okay.
in different stuff. And I've said, oh, so it's not that black folk don't have no money. It's what they're doing with their money.
Right, I agree. But after you take, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All these different people, if you look at what they call the economic market, it's set up specifically for us. I mean, I don't know hardly any of us, the majority of us, that we go and do business with. I don't know. There's I've been here and I only do business maybe with one particular black family here in this city that I'm in. And I said, what are all the people here? And they're saying that new people are coming here every 7 days. And there's over 100 people that move into this area. And still there's hardly no own of anything that we put our monies into, but yet we spend a lot of money into other avenues that don't even belong to us. And that's, I don't know why that's continued to happen.
Well, that's happening because of the fact there's certain realities in that statement that you just made. Okay, yes, we're making money, but are we making enough money to be able to have a living wage? And most of our people are not making the type of money that allows them to be able to expand. So our cycles, okay, of spending money is primarily just what we need to survive. We're not, if you was to take the monies that we made, so if we're making $2 trillion, imagine what the other peoples who are working together are making. Are you seeing what I'm saying here? Because last year, in 2008, our collective community, lost $12.7 trillion in collective wealth. And what that means is that we lost from all the homes that we lost from losing the jobs and what have you, we lost a lot. So what happened to all those people? Where did they go? How did they make it when they really did not have what they need to make it individually? Most of our people do not support anything that gives them life. They don't support it. We only support our temporal entertainment. We want everything for free. And that comes with a consequence. So I agree with you that, we're making the money. I also am very clear that the money is not going back to building with life. Would you agree to that?
Yes, I agree. And one thing I noticed here that is come up like popcorn is that they're building brand new neighborhoods, but I don't know any communities. It's just neighborhoods. And then it's a big difference between the neighborhood and a community. The neighborhood doesn't give anything, and so when there's no community, we in serious trouble because it's without that community, we really have we don't have no survival. There won't be any.
And let me
Because
share something with you on that note, because you're 100% right. I was reading in the New York Times where they were actually talking about there are no more indigenous neighborhoods and that there's only one left. The biggest indigenous neighborhood left, supposedly in the United States, is the collective in Washington, D.C., going towards Maryland and I guess towards Virginia. And that they found that to be a problem. And that those neighborhoods need to be dispersed. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, so what they're deliberately doing is making sure that we have no way to come back and have collective cognitivity. Has anybody else noticed that too? They
Well,
don't.
that is correct. They would have to do that because they are belligerent occupiers. So no, it's the same thing. It's the colonizing virus. And so it continues and morphs into different forms.
That is correct. That is correct. And so going back to what we had started the whole show about, identity politics is again another morphing of the same agenda, another aspect, a new layer that's about to be implemented. And we need to look at that. Now, let's talk about solutions. Because if we raise our vibration and start living indigenously, start living on the soils in which we recapture. How do you recapture it? You buy some. Okay? And you start building and working with your soil energy again. Could that be a way of us collectively rebuilding ourselves?
yes,
Yes.
Because, the way I see it is that if we want to get out of this stuff, all we have to do is return back to a simpler way of living. Doesn't mean that it's a bad way of living. And you're going to need to use their system as a springboard while we go back to the natural system. Yeah, we need to leave the cities. But we also need to learn while we're in the cities what we need to do once we leave the cities so that we can leave the cities and thrive instead of crash. We have to change the way we think. Because personally, I think that they just didn't like Trump. Trump got some mental issues that he was, but I don't see no difference between Biden and Trump. A lot of people say, oh, we're fighting for our democracy. But if you do your research on the word democracy is a Roman word. It had nothing to do with consensus. And it is a word for occupation. I don't have it up here on the screen. But I implore everyone to go look up the word democracy. Go look it up. Do your research on it because you're going to be shocked what it says when it's used as a Roman word. And yes, we're living. But exactly what are we living? When they say we're saving our democracy, what did they actually save? And how many of you still feel that there's going to be a backlash? We just haven't seen it yet. But it's coming. It's building. Anybody think there's going to be a backlash?
That's how Trump, that set the stage for Trump when Obama was, what was like all of this hope, and all of that. And then what happened? That set the stage for a Trump administration. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it before the Christmas. We're going to see a swing back.
They're getting ready. They're already getting ready. They are being very strategic about what their next move is.
Yeah, I see it too. Elder Eugene, tell them about the ammunition for the guns.
Oh yeah, you can't. I went into about 4 or 5 different sporting places to find ammunition just to hunt with. There are none. And I went to 3 states, and I couldn't get any. I was just lucky. I found 2 boxes of rifle, but you can't buy any for a pistol. And what's happening, because they're not allowed to they're not allowed to withhold the ammunition. So what's happening when they come into the place and they see the ammunition being put on the shelf, they're buying it up by the case full. Because I asked the guy, I said, well, why is there no ammunition here? And the guy just come out and told me. He said they're getting ready for a revolution, because they believe they're going to be one, and they're preparing for it. And that's one reason you can't buy any ammunition for your weapons, because they're stocking up and preparing for what they believe is going to happen after this election is over.
Not only are they stockpiling in North Carolina, here in West Virginia, you can't find nothing either. So I don't think that what we're seeing, we're jumping all happy, all Biden this, Biden that. I think there's going to be another revolution. They're going to have to push the clock back and let people understand what time it is. A black female, the black woman saved democracy. And I'm like, really? Are you really going to blame it on us? Because we're occupied on our soil. America is us. And did America actually want this type of democracy? Where you can participate, but you can't move life forward. You can't go to a hospital and have your baby. So exactly what are we pushing forward? Are we pushing this forward, or is somebody saying we're pushing it forward? I got an email the other day and they were glorifying, the black woman is in power. And I was like, really? You really think that these people want a black woman to be in power?
They do not, but they want people to believe that.
I agree. But that's not what they want. They want us to believe that. And then if that's not what they really want, then then there's something else going on here. And I think we as females need to be clear that there's only certain kinds of females who operate as women who they want. And that it comes with a very, very heavy price to live in their kind of world. A world in which they don't have no kind of care, compassion, concern for you. Are we not being promoted as human androids in this new system?
Yes.
Because that's what it looks like to me. It's like, wow, wait a minute. So black women, we need to jump up and down because we can have careers serving, using all our talent to serve another group of people while they have babies and they get a chance to raise and build life towards the future, that they move their blood on. Even in some of the movies, you see it. You know, the black woman, she's there, but she's expendable. She's there with the robots. And with that, you can have what? Run what? So it's just something to think about. Exactly what the propaganda is and where is it leading us to. This artificial illusion of variables that they're throwing out in your face. And that we may need to not be so complicit and speak to our young and be the voice of reason to give them something to think about, that this paradigm of thinking that they're leading you into is not a paradigm that improves or lets you incorporate your destiny with life. And that may be learning to be indigenous. It's one thing to say you're indigenous. Then there's one thing to live indigenously. So on that note, I had wrote something down for us to be able to look at. And y'all can give me your opinion about it, that we could, all right, it's not moving as usual. Okay, let's see. Okay, that we could ask ourselves that this returning to our ancestral thought form may be our answer out of this nightmare. Because I really think that a lot of our people are going to become beyond trapped. So what is indigenous living or living indigenously? We live within the norms of nature, the emotional flow of nature. And I really am clear that at this particular time, those who go back to embrace that, forget about all what you think it should be, but go back to embrace that, are going to be the ones who will be able to ride out these COVIDs, because COVID-19 is just the beginning. The flooding is just the beginning. We all are going to be hit. But the people who build their emotional relationships with life itself are going to be the ones who can see the forest for the trees and be able to plant more trees.
Excuse me, Rand, I'm gonna have to step away from this. I enjoyed everything, but I have to step away from at this time.
Well, we hope we miss you and hopefully have a good month.
All right.
I also want to say real quick that people who follow the Kamala Harris, who buy into that, those people are considered the slaves of the system. And they can't claim any kind of entitlement or protections that indigenous people have with the earth. And so going back to indigenous thinking, the natural paradigm may allow all of us a way to be able to experience a much more positive relationship with living, building, producing, and supporting the future of life. Any questions? Any comments? Or you feel that being doing this is just too hard?
No, it's just one needs to know the how part. The step by step pieces. I mean, I'm learning as much as I can within the resources that are available to me. I don't think it's another way of living. I mean, I don't think it's too hard. I mean, it's hard living under the current system. It's hard. I mean, that's hard. So to explore another way of being is, I personally, and I can only speak for myself, don't think that's necessarily hard. It's survival. It's our way out. And
Right,
so
but it's also thrival. See, the beautiful thing about being indigenous is that you've already got part of it. So you don't have to go someplace to where you belong for your life to thrive. The question becomes, how do we do it? And that's why, people get mad at F.I.A.H. I had someone call us the other day, and we want our entitlement. I'm like, what entitlement? Indigenousness is not an entitlement. It is a way of living. It is are the people who choose to support your first purpose to life with the planet. You're not you're living in the ways of nature. Now, the beautiful thing about that is that the minute you choose to do that, the minute you make your allegiance back to life, the minute you invest in that, invest in learning that, your life improves. You didn't have no idea what's in you, and it will move you forward. But you have to be willing. A lot of our people, we tell them, we say, look, get some liquid life. Every time someone shares the liquid life with another person, they get a benefit. Living indigenously benefits people. You receive benefits for what you do to help life move forward with each other. And life will help provide you with whatever you need. And as you get that, you learn how to live with less. You don't need a lot of money to live well. And as you build, you need less and less and less and less and less. Because you will learn that life will provide and show you as you learn how to work with the earth and to work with the emotion of life itself. You're going to find that you could think it and it pretty much will come to pass. But if you don't change the way you think, you can't receive that. And all of us was initially born and raised to be outside and never get a chance to embrace our nature. Never know what life was actually had in store for us. Never. Only thing we could do is try to survive if we would just change the way we think and learn another way of thinking, we could thrive. So living indigenously is, from what I see, because I'm not in this paradigm, I'm just standing on the outside taking a look at it. But I'm very, very clear that as I build my life and live my life through indigenous living, that means following the principles, understanding the paradigm that operates nature itself, and stay within those boundaries. Sometimes it looks bleak, but I find out, well, nature has a way of correcting whatever is necessary if you are part of it. But we all will have to change our perception. Males will have to turn to males. They will have to stop living as females in males' bodies, as women, and vice versa. We will have to start. And let me tell you, it's a wonderful experience to be able to grow your own food. To be able to know that your supermarket is never at Kroger. Kroger is your convenience. And as you develop this inner knowing, because it's within each and every one of us, it just needs to be tapped. We got to chisel at it because there's so much crud that's knocked on it. But as you start to break through, you will see. You will look back at the days in which looked bleak, that you'll never want to go back there. And that you'll be happy that we do have a way. Any questions? Make any comments? Come on, y'all. I know you got a comment. What do you think? Come on, Waters, what do you think? I said it right. Waters.
Yeah. I think everybody's supposed to get back into to their natural way of life. I think that's great.
Would you do it?
Whatever. What's that?
Is it something you would do? Is it something you would do?
Yeah, I do it. I'm not like living directly off the land like every day, but because of my my location where I'm at. But yeah, I try to do as much as I can as far as trying to eat eat natural foods and stay away from certain areas and certain energies and people. Uh, I try to do a lot of positive like meditations and what I mean. And I know I'm not doing it like 100% right now. Again, because the area that I live in, I live like get
So
little city that I live in.
Would you move out of the city?
Oh, I would love to move out of the city. I was just down in Florida last month visiting my daughter. She's down in Pensacola, and they lived in a nice little area, got some land, and I was down there for a week last month. It was beautiful down there. Weather was nice, got the nice beaches and ocean and all of that stuff. It was great.
So you would be willing to build you a house and move away out the system?
Of course, I would love to do that.
So you would respect if somebody showed you how?
Oh yeah, I would definitely do that. I would, if somebody showed me how, yeah, I would.
Because when you
I
talk
was,
about
I was into building before. I was in the carpentry like a long time ago. I got out of it because I started doing other jobs. But yeah, carpentry was my passion. Like when I was, I think coming out of high school, I did some carpentry. It was in the union and all that up in Connecticut. We building. I loved it.
yeah, because you're going to need to go to a tax sale and find some property where you want to be. After you start doing your allegiances, as you get stronger, your life is going to show you where you can go. That's how we got here at Uwaja. And we ended up with 237 acres just on Uwaja alone. And once you start doing that, but you will have to build. I build houses in Belize. We're building them here, building our own little medical center. And we don't use wood, very little wood. We don't kill nothing. But you would have to learn how that's done, you know, and look up how to do tongue and groove, building without nails. Because our ancestors never used no nails, and this stuff stands up much better than with nails. Because as you change your paradigm, you're going to find that a lot of stuff that you was taught is just straight up wrong. And that when you have to build things with nature, you're going to find that you can build a beautiful home. I mean, just breathtakingly beautiful. And it's not that expensive. You could do it for less than $10,000. How does that sound to you, Waters? You can build a house for less than $10,000.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And
It's Waters. It's not Walters.
it's Waters, right? I said Waters.
Waters, not Walters.
I didn't say Walter. I said Waters. Waters. Waters.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. I would definitely be willing to do it. I would pack up in a minute to do something like that, you know?
You don't have to pack up right away. You can be working and do it. But there's certain things you need to have to understand to do so that you can be at the right space. Because there's still a lot of soil of our ancestors that have been not totally tore up. That each and every one of you. But you got to be willing to return back to the laws of nature and serve your purpose as a part of it. Anybody else, does this sound good to? Because we got to make a change. Any comments? And Waters, you're lucky you got carpentry skills. So he can have the best of both worlds. Anybody else?
I'm all with it.
And who's that?
This is Anthony.
Hi, Anthony. Welcome.
Yeah. Hey.
Welcome. Because how many of us think that the time has come that life is kind of forcing us to either to get off the pot or piss?
Yeah, that's what time it is. Straight in our face.
Yeah, I think that with this new election and everything, that it's going to be about, this is going to be some interesting dynamics that's going to even tell people you're going to have to not start, but you need to be started looking for a way to live, letting go of all this nonsense so that you can have a comfortable future and you can support our children so that they have a future. Any other questions about democracy? Please give me your comments. Well, if nobody's going to comment, then I'm going to go ahead on and give us a prayer. Let's say our prayer that we do every month. We're starting to do this every month because things are getting real hairy out here, and we want all our people to do well. We want everybody to do well. So we have a prayer to keep us healthy. We want all of you not to get to not have COVID-19. Everybody's going to get it. That's not going to stop us from getting it. We want to be able to get it without it staying and causing your body harm. How many agree with me on that one?
Yes, I agree.
So this here is what we can say. And if you can write it down, if not, it's in the prayer book that we have. Just order it from the site, www.F.I.A.H and drink some liquid life and you will be fine. We're all going to get it. So we can't avoid it. I would like to get it and be asymptomatic. How about that? So it comes and it what? Goes. It doesn't live or makes a domain in me. So for that health, for your health, we have this one. And a lot of people use it. It'll help you change your paradigm. but it'll also keep us life enthused. Everybody ready? Here we go. My allegiance is to life, my soul, and my blood of America. I value the blood of life given to me. I respect the blood of life shared with me. I love the life force that flows within me. I trust the power of life to provide, sustain, and thrive with me. Principles that govern life protect me from the ego, false illusions created by man, and perceptions that bring fear. My allegiance is to stand for life, earth, and America. And focus, fearless, and life enthused is how I remain. So, now that you've gotten your charge, keep moving forward, but pay attention to how they're doing things and make sure that you're not complicit in. Because it's time to get off of fool's paradise and let's get into the paradise that life actually has for us. So, anybody have any comment before we close?
I got a question about this book that you was talking about. If
Okay,
I order it, how long will it take to receive it?
probably about a week. Why? I mean, as soon as your order comes, as soon as we are notified that there's an order, we send them out. Did that answer your question, sir?
That answered it.
Any other questions, comments? But seriously, folks, it's over. It's time to get it together and we're getting out of here. And when I say getting out of here, we're not getting on a plane or nothing. It's time for you to get out of the paradigm and change the way you think. Those who want to register. We have plenty of classes. We're doing the Indigenous Law class now. So you can empower yourself. But empowerment without change doesn't happen. If you don't change your paradigm, you'll never get out. You'll be stuck. But you don't have to be on the boat that flows you off the cliff. So let's stay life enthused and let's get off on the next exit so that we can find and create a better day. I don't struggle. People say, well, you should struggle. Well, I do struggle, but I don't struggle the way people think I struggle or I should struggle. I love working with the earth. I love it. I am so grateful every day I wake up saying thank you, thank you, thank you, that I don't have to live in the mental paradigm I was given. And the beautiful thing about changing your paradigm is that if you take one step, life will open the door for two more. We don't have to be in a bad way, mentally ill or physically ill. But we have to learn how to do something. So on that note, I'm going to do something the doctor never did. I'm going to let you go. I think we had a very, very good show. It was a little different than what was planned, but that's the way it goes every week anyway. And, I will be leaving to go back to Paradise, to the Paradise in Belize. The next show will be there, if everything works out right. And, I will be building another indigenous house and hopefully all my trees and stuff, because as you know, I live and prosper there. Anybody that's interested in knowing what I do, I send out a Belize update every 2 weeks while I'm there to give you just some insights of what I'm experiencing and learning. If you're interested in that, being put on the mailing list for that, just make sure you're on the mailing list, because I use the regular mailing list that it notifies you about Let's Set Your Record Straight, is the same list I use for the Belize update. But it will be starting before the next show. I should be there by the middle of December if everything works out right. And I'll let you know how it goes. So if anybody's interested in receiving any of the products that we've created, the COVID-19 tea, the tinctures, and what have you, you need to put your orders in now because they will not be delivered during the winter once I leave. So it was wonderful having all of you to participate in this wonderful show, and I will speak to you soon. I keep your way.
Get your way.